Do. Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 of the weekly. Happy Easter. If you're celebrating Easter like I am and we are, thank you very much for joining. Hey guys, I thought I hit mute, then I realized I unmuted it. Anyway, joining me this week is Mr. Warren Bowman. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good. Yeah, let's get into some topics here. Sam will be joining us hopefully at some points. Thank you, Fat Produce. Greetings, Earth. I can't even say Earthlings properly, man. It's one of those warnings. Anyway, let's jump into all the stuff of the day. If you guys want just some quick show stuff, the podcast links are updated for both iTunes and Google Play, so definitely go ahead and download it if you want to listen to it later on. Starting off at Uselessness of the Week. You brought this up, Mr. Warren Bowman. Under Armour had a security breach. Oh, there is Sam.
No, it's just an icon.
Just an icon.
Maybe it'll exist. Who knows?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No, he said he can't hear us.
He can't. Okay. Starting off with Uselessness of the Week. Under Armour had a security breach.
Dun dun dun.
This is going to be the new norm. It is the new norm. And this was through the security breach that affected MyFitnessPal users. So it's not necessarily Under Armour directly, but that app that is associated with them.
I believe they bought MyFitnessPal some few years ago.
Oh, they bought MyFitnessPal for $475 million, and I guess they found out there was a breach either during that time. They haven't really disclosed exactly. In March of 2018. So actually, 5 days ago, the breach. Actually, I give them props for announcing it quickly.
No, I think the breach was in February. Actually, the breach was...
Oh, during February this year, yeah.
Yeah, it was sometime.
I was going to be like, yo, Under Armour, man, like 5 days, you tell us it's a breach. That's great. I mean, come on.
That's a great turnaround.
That's progress. Time. But it's February, so I guess that ain't so bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, any thoughts on that, Sam? On Under Armour breach, the new norm of all your data just leaking out there like tap water?
Well, this is an actual data breach, unlike the Facebook one wasn't. This is an actual
I'm sorry.
breach.
What are you talking about? The Facebook one wasn't.
It wasn't.
I don't understand that. Okay, so basically,
wasn't the breach.
You're telling me that part of breaching a website is not social engineering, because that's exactly what happened. It was just social engineering to get people's information. So that's
no. Facebook social engineering.
Basically, they put out a false questionnaire that people took on as an some kind of educational focused questionnaire, and then basically back-ended into taking other people's information. Facebook allows for this to happen, and basically Facebook had rules against this to happen. So it went against Facebook rules. It was social engineering to get.
No, it went against Facebook rules after the fact.
It's a breach. I don't care what kind of stunt Facebook is trying to pull out.
But almost no one in
first of all, wait, before
call it a breach.
Sam, in terms of
almost no one will call it a breach. I will call it a breach because that's exactly what a breach is to me.
No, in terms of Facebook rules, Facebook changed the rules after, so it was part of the rules before.
Facebook, well, it was part of the rules.
Hey, let's get back into
I'm just going to put it out there. No, I'm just going to put it out there because people are trying to say, "Oh, no, it wasn't really a breach. It wasn't a breach." Did I sign up for my information to be used by this company? Did I do that? The answer is no.
Yes, you did. On the Facebook terms and services when you decided to sign up for the site.
No, that's ridiculous. I did not sign up to it. A friend of mine did. A friend of mine would. Okay, to me, that's a data breach with my data. End of story. I don't care how anyone wants to look at it. Every individual who did not sign up for this questionnaire, who did not understand exactly what this information was going to be used for, should consider it a data breach.
It's not a data breach.
Did you sign up for the questionnaire, Sam?
I'm sorry?
Did you sign up for the questionnaire? Just checking, man. I'm just checking.
Dude, you know me. I'm like paranoid as hell. I don't sign up for anything.
I was just checking, man. Just making sure. All right, cool.
That's what pisses me off the most. The fact that I could be as secure as I am with my data. I could basically limit what I put out on Facebook. We're just updating my profile to like because I want to have a complete profile. I update my profile. And yet, because someone else decides to be less secure with your data, my data is now put at risk. That is a breach in my estimation.
Well, according to Fat Pro,
it's not technically when that was in Facebook's terms of services, man. It just isn't. It wouldn't even hold up in court. It really legitimately wouldn't.
Oh, well, so because something doesn't hold up in court doesn't mean that ethically it's basically wrong?
Oh,
is that where we're going to go now?
But it's not a data breach, man.
Okay, guys. Let's bring together. Let's not bring ethics here, man. We have a high moral standard of getting paid. Okay.
Well, then where the hell's our check? Good question. Where's our check, fearless leader?
I was just trying to pinpoint something that Fat Pro you said. He says Google Reward Survey app asked me if I wanted to take a photo of my receipt from my recent grocery store. He said kind of evasive to me, and I responded, "Hell no."
They asked you, you said no. Now, if they asked you and you said no, and then they went back in and took all your friends' data, that's some kind of bullshit. So just gonna put it out there.
Imagine Ghazi says Sam will die on this data breach hill. Hell.
I have the higher ground.
Anyway, but to Warren's point, the reason why I mentioned Under Armour is that he says, look, and okay, fine. You call Facebook a data breach. This is a direct access data breach. That's indirect. Let's call it what it is, right?
Well, no one's an actual data breach.
No one
actually happens in a data breach. You kind of do this for a living.
Warren,
this is an actual data breach.
No, this is the straightforward definition of a data breach.
Yeah, Warren said that no one's going to bitch about this, and it's true. No one's
going to bitch about it.
And you know what the funny thing is? This is what people should be really kind of scared of.
This is the delete shit. This is the delete
this is health data. This is the kind of data you sell to insurance companies that deny you insurance back in the days. So you have to be very careful, people.
We should be not mad because everyone found out I like cats or something on Facebook through friends of friends for some stupid survey. But amongst data that you decided to put on that site. This is a completely different thing where you need the data. They need your data on the site for this to operate and function the way it's supposed to, and it was breached. Now, not from what I heard, email addresses were leaked and passwords were hashed, so that in itself kept the user accounts protected. But these are the type of things that, like, yo, why aren't you finding about this data breach sooner? Like, why are we waiting now to find these things?
I mean, look, we have a culture where
this is acceptable to people because they don't complain about it. But Elon Musk and the guy that founded WhatsApp has plenty of time to delete their Facebook or complain about deleting Facebook to one-tank of stock prices. And funny how the karma on that worked out for Elon Musk recently. But like it's kind of funny.
Oh snap! So he's so just to put that in perspective, if you don't know, they're talking about Tesla's troubles, having a hard time turning a profit, and also the fact that they're not going to deliver on the Model 3 anywhere close to what.
Yeah, but if you know Elon Musk, that is his MO. He overpromises, underdelivers, and then the good thing about him, though, is that he then builds up to the original promise. He just doesn't drop it and say, "Okay, we'll deliver it."
Yeah, I mean,
he then builds up to it.
The only time he did that, it's only one time he's done that. Let's be honest. It's called PayPal. And that was not only
he walked away from PayPal because PayPal did not succeed at what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, but it's still a successful. It didn't succeed at what he dreamt. It's a successful company. Two different things. So I'm just saying that the way where Tesla is right now. I mean, what Elon Musk is this to me. He is a poor version of Tony Stark, not poor as in financially.
No one can be a rich version of Tony Stark.
Sorry. He's a visionary poor version of Tony Stark. He dreams high, delivers here, cuts to left, and then showcase something. Right now, he's on SpaceX. That is where his mind is.
Oh, because that's money, baby.
Because that's exactly. That is.
But the difference is.
And then once in a while,
here's the thing.
You truck here goes, ooh, look at this semi. Everybody's like, yay.
But here's the thing. You just mocked him for saying he promises high and under delivers, but SpaceX proves that he does.
Yeah. SpaceX, yeah.
Proves that he does.
No, but you know why SpaceX works, though? SpaceX truly is something that he has no control because the tech from SpaceX. No. I'm talking technology-wise. The guys who handle that are true people who are frustrated in NASA who get said yes.
I would challenge you on that simply because when before SpaceX's maiden flight, Elon Musk and a lot of the engineers would tell you this. Elon Musk was ferrying people from coast to coast using his own private jets. He was very involved.
No. You missed my point.
Let me finish. I get what you're saying. He's not the engineer to make all the engineering.
That's why SpaceX is working.
But
he's also not the engineer on Tesla either.
Yeah, he's the person who cut the engineering timeline almost in half for SpaceX because he was ferrying people with his private jet. He basically decided rather than build something in one place and then move it to another, they built it on very close to the platform they were going to launch from. He made decisions, on granular decisions that were impactful to how SpaceX was delivered. I think, to me, at the end of the day, when people judge Elon Musk, they're going to complain about PayPal. They're going to complain about Tesla, but PayPal. No one is ever going to say this guy did not spearhead.
Oh no! I see. You missed my. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. Look, especially the one part that I want him to deliver. As much I personally, I don't like Tesla as a car. I'm not a fan of the car, but actually
same here. I like the concept. I
want him to deliver on that because to me, that's the part that he needs to deliver on the most to really help change a lot of things. That's what I want him to do there. I was like, whether I'm a fan or not doesn't even matter. I'm like, please drop that Model 3 out. Let it come out. Let it roll out so that all these guys are forced to make changes so that Honda can now say, okay, fine. Oh, okay, we need to make. Toyota says, okay, we're going to make a fleet of,
Why Honda, man? Is that some kind of Honda e-car of choice? What are we talking? Why we bring Honda? Why do we single out Honda?
Well, no, but here's the thing before we get back to the My Fitness Pal and the Under Armour thing.
Yeah.
The reality is what we need to have happen is not just him being successful with a car, him being able to successfully sell directly as a manufacturer to consumers. If he can circumvent that, the car game changes for so much.
He's already
done that. The problem is he hasn't delivered it. That's the thing, is that when those pre-orders went out and the amount of pre-orders, like that was everybody was like, this was the reaction from everyone. But the car manufacturers were all sitting down going, deliver. That is just it. But
the thing is that they want him to.
Yeah.
Because if he can prove he can sell directly, oh crap! All of them are going to do it. So you don't have to go to a shady dealership.
That's why I said that it's that part that needs to happen. So that if that happens, then they start going. Honda now goes like Honda, Toyota, all of them would just go.
All of a sudden, you start seeing lobbying money going into Congress, lifting those rules all of a sudden on car dealerships. Watch. As soon as they can prove that he can sell a ton of cars directly to people, and then Amazon will have a car section. You just click and Prime now.
Check out Amazon. Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised Amazon will partner with one of the Chinese manufacturers and say, look, let's do this. Let's automate this car manufacturer. Let's do this thing quick. Before you know, you're like at Amazon. You go, I want this. Your car will be delivered in 7 days
by a drone. The drone.
No, it'll be a robotic driver who will come out. Thank you, sir.
No, it'll be all autopilot, sponsored by Uber.
That is so wrong. All right, let's move on to our main topic. Starting off with LG G7. So it looks like LG is going to rename its device the Q7. That's what's kind of coming out. It might be something else. Or the Q, there's a Q6, Q7. Who knows? My thing is this the device, or just is it following the Q7 or the Q series that's in Korea? Because
I think this is just some like. I don't want to say prepaid phone, but I don't think this is their flagship. I think they just have it they're gonna release it somewhere in the US on a carrier somewhere. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe the phone shows up for Project 5 or something. I don't know. No. I doubt they change the G line now because it wouldn't benefit them any to do it. It is what it is, and they're on number 7. You might as well get up to number 10 before you start changing things.
Yeah.
So you just continue down that whole path, and especially like it would be weird for them release a Q7
and then
here.
it's a Q7. You're like, wait, what about Q1 through 6?
And then you have the whole issue with their ThinkQ G30 EX Plus Alpha name branding they did.
I thought that was the whole idea, man. You know,
I mean, it could be, but it'd be really
go with the Street Fighter lettering.
It'd be really strange. I would think they would just, you know, the LG G8Q would make more sense to me than it would be for them to then just do
too many letters. The G8Q.
Yeah, too many words. Anyway, another thing on LG, I want to ask you about this, Sam, because they took it off. So LG asked Reddit users about the notch. And I think they got a lot of negative comments. Android users, and then they took it off.
Why would you go to Reddit to ask that?
That
already scares me that they don't understand user base or how Android's user base works.
I don't even think it's that even going to Reddit to ask that question. The fact that they're asking that question means that fundamentally they understand that people are not cool with the freaking notch. Okay,
somebody in their social media team was reading news, saw that there was all just notch negativity, and said, "Hey, well, let's bring up to a poll. Well, how about we be a little trendy and do an AMA and start inside Reddit and get some real responses." You got real responses.
The thing is, the notch, everyone recognizes that the notch was I wouldn't call it a design flaw, but like a design shortcut for Apple. And people start building their devices, designing their devices to incorporate someone's shortcut. Why not even delivering what the shortcut was meant to deliver? It's like, are you serious?
I can't wait till the next iPhone 10 doesn't have that notch because they designed better.
But here's the thing about the notch, though, and that's the thing that all these Android manufacturers are doing to themselves, and they're failing. You know how Google, for instance, not notch, but just design issues of stupidity. I'm going to call it that. Google with a Pixel came out and says, we have a headphone jack. iPhone does not. The second year, they decided to take out the headphone jack and gave no sensible reason for it. None. They said it was because of bezels, and that thing has bezels beyond belief compared to the Galaxy line. And then take OnePlus last year at OnePlus 5T event. I was there. They were going like, notch, unibrow, and the CEO comes like, yeah, OnePlus 6 will have unibrow. Like, really?
It seems like only Samsung gets it if you're gonna like mock somebody to just like kind of people remember.
Yeah,
it's like Kevin Durant saying, "What about these super teams?" Back when LeBron went to Miami, and then
he joins the super team.
Then he kind of joins the super team, and then people forget. Twitter remembers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like
Twitter does not forget.
Twitter is like Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Twitter remembers.
There's no way Samsung is going to put a notch after they put a unibrow notch cut on that guy in their ad. I mean, like,
no way they're gonna do that.
No way.
They went hard.
Samsung was like, this is just bull.
The thing is that they would get the most shit if they did. They'd catch it harder than anyone else the next year they did.
Yeah, basically, Apple's just waiting by the phones like, we got our lawyers on speed dial. Come on, Samsung, just do it. Just do it, Samsung.
Yeah,
noticeably, they won't sue anyone else for that.
No, they wouldn't. But they'll sue Samsung.
Yeah, but the thing is, Samsung will not. The only way that would be notch will be used by them is if there's a practical benefit to it, but which there isn't. So Samsung's not. And the thing about Samsung devices is
Bixby overlook.
No.
Nobody's watching you wherever you go. They can tell you how much change you have in your pocket. Just put your phone in your pocket.
Oh boy.
Oh God, have mercy. No,
Samsung, please don't take that idea and do anything with it.
No, Samsung won't go that route with it. I mean, like, they know very well. They understand. I mean, that's a company that understands the customer base with how they refine.
They're kind of riding a high right now too.
Yeah,
especially coming from the battery issue that they had.
I mean, remember how everybody said the battery was going to kill them, and Samsung was like, "Yes,
Apple fanboys and tech guys that have no idea what they're talking about, how business works, said that, and the rest of us were like, well, they're about 7 devices in. I think they're okay if they have a flaw. They own up to their flaw, unlike hiding it like Apple does. They owned up to it.
And don't forget that same device that ended up exploding ended up being a really good seller after they came out with a refresh.
And by the way, it tells you how tech reviewers work, considering that some of these guys work, considering that they all rated it the best phone in the world a week after it was damn it out.
Yeah.
It wasn't even it wasn't even in stores, and they were all saying that. But then yet they all flipped it and said, "Oh, Samsung's in trouble." I said, "No, they're not. They're gonna fix their battery issue. They're gonna come out with the public, and they handled it the right way." The public went, "Okay, mind you, this didn't happen on their flagship, their real key flagship brand. It's happened on the Note line, which still sells less than what the Galaxy S line."
Oh no, it can't be if it was the Galaxy S line, then I would be like,
then they would have some problems there. But see, the thing is, if it happened on the Galaxy S line, they release a new phone. They would just re-release. They would have done a whole different gamble with that. But like getting into but it's just like, they're riding a high with the S8, the S9, the S8, Note 8, S9. We're gonna have to see what they're gonna do with the Note 10. I'm hoping the Note 9. Sorry, Note 9.
I know everyone's like waiting for the Note 10. I'm like, but the 9 is not even. I'm thinking, what the Note 10 look like?
You want to know why? Because I think we're all looking at the Note 8 was a great phone last year, but it was really just it was another iteration bump, and they don't really.
7. It was really
a 7.
A little bit of spec bump.
Bump. And it's almost what they're probably going to do with the 9.
Oh no, the 9's not good. See, the one thing that would be there is, I think that fingerprint scanner on the glass. But I'm seeing more rumors coming out that's going to be on there.
If that could be there, that'd be the killer thing.
That would be the killer thing, because I think the Note 10 is going to be a fresh look, just like the S10 next year will be a fresh look. But the big thing for that next year is 5G, because 5G's official rollout begins at the end of this year, but the first chip will be.
That's my other thing as well too, with the with that fingerprint sensor coming on fingerprints under the screen. Would you think they'd save that for the S10? Especially if Apple is going to release it.
I think the S10 has to be more than just a fingerprint under the screen.
But I'm thinking they're doubling down on something.
No, I think
it's essentially kind of an anniversary phone. And I'm just saying, if it becomes an issue of like, all right, Apple's not releasing that right now, do we need to put that out to directly compete just yet, or can we take our flagship brand and really set it apart by being the first to say that we have all this stuff?
I think what you're going to see with the S10 is new design. The fingerprint will start off with the Note 9, but the 10 will have a new improved. You're going to have a camera where they're going to, this is my prediction, I have no inside knowledge, they're going to basically work with Qualcomm to do the same thing Google is doing with their camera software. And basically, because they have better hardware. They have better camera hardware.
Yeah, so but they need a cloud.
Yeah,
they need a cloud.
Actually, no, 90% of the processing is on the phone. Literally, I saw Google's documents. The cloud is literally a match, and which you can do with another company has a service where they took the set amount of photos that you need, because Google's amount of photos is not that much that you actually need.
But the fact that
then you just put it in the cloud. Yeah, they can actually do that. They can buy a company or work with a service.
Well, they have a cloud service. The thing is, people don't realize Samsung will back up your photos. They will do that. They don't really advertise them much, but it's something. I think they don't, because they really they tie in with Google and Google Photos a little bit with that, so they don't really push. It's much.
It's great for backing up your phone and when you're switching devices and stuff like that, because your text messages are backed up as well.
Yeah, which is a key thing. Actually, I need to start using it for just a texting backup. I got everything else backed up on it, and I got way too much data. Like I can't. I'm not a normal photo taker like everyone else, so I have way more than 5 gigabytes of data to actually put up in the cloud. So I need to do things differently. I'm pretty sure like the rest of you guys do, but I guess my thought is that let's get back to LG. And
I love that. Like, I guess my thought is, I guess we should go back to LG, right? At some point. Look, to me, I think this is it. I think the Note 9, the Note 10 will be foldable in some form or fashion. That's the one that they're going to make it look funky as hell. The S10 will be a different design.
Actually, I think the big thing that they'll do is they'll be one of the few companies since HTC to trick out the front-facing camera. I think they were going to do something big with it, because the one thing that they did big that nobody knows is that it's still the only front-facing camera that records in 2K.
Yeah,
Since like the Note 4. It's been doing that. I think the Note 4 has
been the 5. Not sure.
No, the S5 I don't think the S5 had 4K recording yet.
Not the S5. I think it was the Note 5.
No,
it's the Note 4.
It's the Note 4. It's the Note 4.
Yeah, it's the Note 4. Remember, think about it.
I have a video of it.
There was no Note 6. We jumped to Note 7. The Note 4.
Yeah, that's why I think it was the Note 5. It was the glass one, not the.
No, it was the Note 4. I remember. I remember it was the Note 4. The Note 4 had it, and it was great, but no one really used it or talked about or set the settings to it to really take advantage, because it looked good even for vlogging, how the quality was there. So I think their big things I think that's gonna be a big thing, that maybe that's what they push for furthermore, because the thing is while they have the rear camera competing with, the Pixel and stuff like that, it was really that portrait mode and that selfie game and all that other nonsense that the Pixel was able to do on the front camera. But
the Pixel front selfies
with that no one is being matched right now. So I could see that's something that they can try to match, because no one's taking, like, not even Google really advertised that as a thing. We all talk about selfie cams, but it became just a buzzword to talk about front-facing cameras and attach the 8-megapixel thing to it. And then that sort of died out, if you noticed, over a while. No one really was talking about that because you just assumed everyone took selfies. Then portrait mode sort of came in, but it was never talking about portrait mode with that front-facing camera, which would make more sense to use it with in terms of taking a portrait. So I see next year that's probably the big thing that they're probably going to try and put out there, is that, like, your optics on your rear and your front-facing camera will start to match.
I think if they can do that, if Samsung makes it that your rear camera, your front camera are the same, like image quality is exactly the same, then I think that's where somebody truly wins. It's no longer okay. Selfies are kind of good, but I really need to take that. If I want that really nice shot, I need to take my rear camera. I think whoever does that with one of the big companies is the one that really seals it. But then again, Google could do that this year.
Mm-hmm. Or it could be Motorola with the Z3. They could come out with some
Motorola's got to be good with cameras to start off. Yeah. And they're always about two.
They can come up with one of those modular, one of the modules they had.
I mean, they definitely can. It's just they haven't delivered a module.
Unibrow on top.
Yeah, but adding a module is adding an extra step. And it's been proven not only with Motorola but also with LG and the G5 that people don't want to take that extra step.
But I'm just saying, if you're talking about iterative steps, you haven't let's say the Z3 right now, the Motorola Z3, right? It's coming out with the same connectivity for the modules that it has in the Z2. So you can already tell, like, okay, you can use some of your old ones and see what the progress is.
If you can get them, or you have them, or you bought any of them.
Here's the thing.
I am trying to segue us into the next story.
Yes, here's the thing about Motorola and the Z line that they made a mistake, and I think they can correct. I agree with Sam with the module. Is that you make an inexpensive module, like $200, not the $5 or $6, a camera module that really takes your camera from this to this. That kind of module that, you would say, yes, I get it. You don't, for every day-to-day, the camera behind on the phone is fine. It's, that does your day-to-day. But if you want to be, creative, if you want to do something else, this is what it does. And if that camera were to somehow get you close, not say a DSLR, but just close to it, where you go, oh, snap. Then that becomes that creative piece that you can go, hey, now with your Moto Z, you can do much more with it. You can really attach. The problem is that they could have done this. They just never have. And they haven't realized that you should make it and bite the bullet by dropping the cost price down. For you to get people involved, you can't charge them the full $500 for that module.
I just noticed something. I just noticed something that's now just turned into what 3D was. And it's slowly turning into that this year. What was the number one thing we were talking about last year with most phones and most devices, and most add-ons and attachments? What were they doing?
VR,
360-degree video.
And
there has been zero talk of that amongst any flagship phone launch.
It's not picked up. I mean, the best 360 camera is a Samsung one, And even that too has not picked up traction. You like the people who were pushing 360 the most, GoPro, have kind of gone away from that as well. You know, they just now just a basic standard GoPro camera that's improved and not 360, because the problem with 360 video is
editing.
Editing. Horrible.
Like we tried to do 360 videos when we got that Motorola camera, and it was just like it was brutal.
Yeah,
brutal.
And the quality isn't even up there yet. It's about like I feel like the video quality in terms of the video itself is near like 2014 level video.
No, I mean the Samsung one gives you 2K because it does 4K, and then basically when you stitch it together, it's 2K.
The problem I had with that was when you go online and you're trying to stream, the quality is just awful.
It's just not.
No, it depends on who you're streaming with. Facebook does that quite well. YouTube doesn't.
No, I tried to remember. I think I did a Facebook Live and I was riding my bike, right? But I guess it was connected through my cell phone.
If you do it at home, or if you're a stationary location with connection, I think Facebook. Then again, Facebook has also improved its streaming algorithms for that specifically as well.
Oh, okay, I have to try it again.
But yeah, I know. YouTube not so much. With that in general. So, I mean, I think the Moto Z3. I think. It's coming. The rumors are it's coming with a 636 processor, I think, which is the mid, the mid-range processor, which technically is a Snapdragon 835. That's what it is. It's just that they've now improved the die for it so that you get better battery efficiency. So that's not a bad processor to have in this device. I think for them, if they price it well, and you have well-priced accessories, that makes sense. This could be it, because if you're trying to get into YouTube or any of these social apps, and you want to be a creator, then a Moto Z3 is the device for you. You don't need to get anything super expensive. Right?
Which is why I was a little disappointed that LG didn't figure out a way to take their modular phones and continue with it, because I think this is where the market, or where the phones are going to end up going. We have Red coming out with your phone, that's also going to be modular. We have Motorola doing stuff with the Moto mods. I think at the end of the day, like you just said, if you're trying to get into YouTube, if you're trying to be a creator, you want the lowest possible cost of entry into the market, and that includes the device you're going to record with. If I can record, if I can get a 12 megapixel camera that does 4K or great 1080p. Why for $500? That's great. And then I can say, I want to get a module so I can do 4K. Okay, maybe I'll just throw in another $100, $150 on a module. It makes it easier. And as you get better, as you start making money on your channel, you start investing more on that particular platform. And that's where I think Red is going to win. That's why I think if Motorola sticks with it, that's where they can actually carve out part of the market for themselves. And I'm just really sad that LG didn't go back and look at that model for their modular phones and go, okay, maybe we need to change a few things, but this idea isn't bad.
Well, because LG's problem was their modular concept itself was flawed. You had to turn off the phone. Like Motorola has the best one. It's a snap, like done. It's just that they need to get the right modules and they need to be tactical about it. Like, to me, this is something where I go, Moto Z3, $500. Moto Z3 camera mod, $700. Done. Bundle. Throw in some SD cards, a few other things there just to spice it up. That's not a bad deal. That's something that I can go, okay, all right, if this module can give me 4K, X amount of zoom, and then image quality is like, then that would make sense. But they need to be tactical about it. They need to be a little bit smart. And I remember somebody else said maybe Motorola needs to go back. Oh, it was Juan. I said somebody. Maybe they need to go back to some of that Motomod stuff. Just the coloring, like Motomod was great for you got your own phone. Like your phone was yours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even the splash screen, man. You could customize the splash screen.
Yeah. Like Motomod was great to have. Let me see, the 636 nowhere near the 835. Just using it, it's slightly better than the S630. No, the 636 is not out, is it? Am I wrong? But anyway, sorry, continue about we were talking about motor mods. I just need to check.
Yeah, motor mods was nice, man. Especially when you got the motor mods with the wooden backs. That was fun. There's a lot of things you can do to basically I would say make your product unique versus everything else. And Motorola had that. I don't know what Lenovo's appetite would be in continuing Motor Maker and stuff like that. But I would hope that it would do something very similar because yes, the production cost, the manufacturing cost is probably higher, but it's a differentiator. People would gravitate toward things like that.
No, I do agree, but I think you started like the problem with motor mods is that they just kind of went too high and decided, like keep it simple. Keep it simple. Do what's like everybody does with smartphones, right? Every year you add in 1 or 2 super cool colors or backs, and then you take one out that year. Yeah. Literally, I mean, like it's like Samsung. Remember when Samsung could use that green Galaxy S8? You couldn't get it.
Pissed me off. It didn't come to the States, man, dude. I actually went online to try to ship the phone internationally because I'm like, I want that green S8. Yeah. It was a beautiful phone. It was just a beautiful phone.
No, it definitely was.
I think it was the S7. Was the
S7? S7, yeah. S7, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Every year, and this year we have lilac. I guarantee you lilac is gone next year.
Forget lilac, man. I want the green. Make the Note in the freaking green with gold, metal bands around it. Then we can talk Samsung. Then we can talk.
I don't know. They had gold for a while, and the gold essentially got replaced by the lilac. So I have a feeling that the lilac might stick around for a few years until they.
You're all right. Lilac is probably one that's selling well.
Yeah, and the thing is, they'll change the tints on whatever, and they've promoted the first time they promoted that color. Remember, they never promoted the gold one in advertising here in the U.S. The advertising is focused around the lilac color, which is just usually they use the black or they use the blue version to promote their phone and advertising in the US. Yeah, it's the lilac they've been pushing the most.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think they're looking at people like lilac. Let's think of another color maybe we could throw into there, like I don't know.
It was the S6.
It was the S6, yeah. Because I remember you fiending about it. Oh god, it was phone. And it wasn't green because they made it green. It was linked to the Avengers, and the Avengers movie came out that year. So every Avenger had their own color because they had a red one that looked pretty good as well too. And I think
you wanted
the red one. Like I could see them but I could see lilac's good. Let's do some red. Let's do some maybe a green and maybe see what these other colors are. Because the thing is that it's a great way for them to expand out in terms of making different models that could possibly bring people in. The other thing is that I think they want to get away from always making blue and black phones, or they used to make white blue for the longest time. We had to drag it out of them to make a black phone. It took forever. Yeah. And even when they did that, I remember it was the S3 when they first did it. And even when they did that, it was like special edition. It was like a specific carrier had it. And I'm pretty sure right now Verizon would love a damn red phone because they put it on everything they possibly could. And I'm pretty sure T-Mobile's loving this phone is like lilac.
This is T-Mobile colors. They're like,
can we get magenta? I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to do that, and that could be unique things that carriers have that they can make their own specials and deals on that they like to have out there. So, and then those are things that maybe they pay into, and then that gets them to make cheaper deals for maybe that color that brings in people that wouldn't normally bring in people. It's like, I can get I get the same phone, but it's just T-Mobile magenta red, but I get it maybe $102 cheaper because I signed up with whatever bundle blah 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 plan. Because they love their exclusivity crap here in the US. So
hopefully carriers can be committed to. I mean, not carriers, manufacturers can be committed to at least adding some of those colors. And speaking of somebody who is committed, Huawei says they're still committed to the U.S. market, besides everything that's happening. And hopefully they stay.
They're taking the punch that Samsung took, but harder. But it's like the problem. But I'm saying they're taking the. Well, you got to remember Samsung also got the Apple lawsuit.
No. Let's call it what it is. This is your slow mo video in wrestling where the guy's coming down with the elbow. So just so you guys know, check out Warren on Twitter. He's got this cool slow mo shot of a wrestling match. Everything's dark, but you can see the guy jumps off the ring, and then it just slows down as it's coming down with an elbow. It's really.
Oh, cool. I didn't get that one. That's the one. What he's doing is a senton bomb.
Okay.
So he's jumping up and he's like ramming his back into him.
Yeah.
That's like his move. And I was waiting for him. I know he's gonna do this move. And the cruiserweights are the best to get for slow-mo because they do high flying moves. So I just caught him and I was like, all right, I know what he's gonna do. And he does it slow enough, then it hit it right at the right point and it just slammed him.
Yeah,
and it looks so cool.
Pretty cool. Definitely check that out.
I got another video that should be popping itself around too. I got one with Roman Reigns doing his Superman punch, and then he does his spear. And I clipped two together, and it's like right at the right moments that it happened. It looks like movie-like.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like, look, Huawei should not give it up, especially with they just announced the P20 Pro. That camera has I mean, from what I'm hearing though, people who have the device, because of course we in the US weren't able to go over to Paris, is the camera is heavily focused on imagery, not necessarily video. But it's got a bigger image sensor. Low light photography looks much better on that. Its bokeh is the best out of everyone's bokeh mode. It just is smooth. It looks really good. So I mean, they make cool products. It's just
they make good products. They were on the verge of coming over, and I'm pretty sure somebody carriers blah 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 5G. Somebody business got together and said blah 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 blah. And make sure that there's shadiness that's happening. This is full shady shit.
Look at it this way: there are two people who will be scared for Huawei to come over. But if it's Huawei devices, as much as a lot of people will talk about, Qualcomm is a big competitor here. To me, it's literally Apple. Remember, this is the number 3 worldwide.
Well, they're
coming into the US market.
They're essentially kind of the Apple of China.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I'm saying they're number 3 global manufacturer coming in, and Apple is facing another foreign entity called Samsung.
But think about this. Think about what Huawei can offer. What does Apple do? They make iPhones, they make tablets, and they make laptops.
Yeah.
What does Samsung do? Samsung does a myriad of other things, but what are the main things they do? They make laptops, they make smartphones, and they make tablets. What can Huawei do as well too?
All three.
So it's funny that they're getting attacked, and LG can do it too, but well, it's LG. So it's interesting though that they're the hot kid was kind of coming in with doing the same things that these three can do, and then all of a sudden they're sort of like, well, no. Especially starting around 5G and all this other stuff like that. I just find the timing so damn interesting to now that has to be said, when they've already been selling stuff in the US for at least a couple years before that.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing with 5G though, that I say that this is where they take a little blame, is because they haven't fully jumped into, you know how it is. You haven't fully jumped into the 5G consortium. You should have. So you just save yourself a lot of stress. Just keep it simple, because they're still using the standards. But they're like we just kind of stay here.
They need to do that. They're doing a lot of antennas as well.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of antennas. So that's the thing where, like, on that 5G aspect, where you're like, if you're part of the consortium then in terms of the tech, like it has to be like you should be able to come into the market because you're following every single guidelines of the consortium, because everybody's in that consortium. Everyone Apple jumped in, so it's not like it's not necessarily something that they shouldn't be part of. It's just kind of like they're going to create they might create a slightly different standard just for the Chinese market or something like that. That becomes a whole thing. And then there's a whole government angle. And, I know Sam can always deep dive into that because he's like, just show me the proof. Let me know that.
He's like, government? Sam's like, government? What?
You see, the thing with me, normally I'm very skeptical of government. And I guess this time I'll take Juan's point of view here is, if there is something that is, fundamentally insecure about this device, then these security agencies should let us know. They should come out and say Huawei devices are backending, or the kernel is siphoning information.
Yeah, you do this for Windows all the time, right?
Yeah, so they should go ahead and they should let people know exactly what the issue is. But I still have a lot of faith that these government agencies aren't going to come out, like all of them together aren't going to come out and say, oh, there's something security wise that's a little fishy here. they're not providing us the proof given, and that you should be skeptical about that right off the bat. But the fact that they're all coming together and saying that there's some kind of security issue here that we all need to be very worried about, that to me gives me a little bit of pause. I'm like, what is Huawei doing? And I'm now looking to see where else in the world, who's the next player in the world is going to go, okay, we don't trust Huawei products again. Because that's the same thing with Kaspersky. You know, when the whole Russian hack happened, and one of the first things that happened was that basically Kaspersky was basically shut out of the U.S. You're like, oh, okay, right away you get it. No one came out and said Kaspersky was doing A, B, C, and D, but we're like, oh, people were thinking that the Russians were using that as a spot, and they're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I want to see now what the rest of the world is going to do and what the government agencies are going to come out with and tell us why Huawei is being, why we're getting this memorandum on Huawei and what evidence do they have. It would be nice to see that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think it just, to me, makes more sense to do that. Because again, with any security flaw, whether it's Windows, we saw that with Intel, all these different companies, at least, let us know what the flaw is, what way the security, you don't have to necessarily show us, because even with the Windows one, with Intel, it's not like, most of us know specifically what it is, but they did tell us like, this is what it is. This is kind of what it does. So if Huawei is backending to get your information and the Chinese government has your information, then let me know. Like that's the kind of thing that we want to. If that's not the case, then like you said, it's almost like the old saying, where they smoke this fire, but is the fire as big as they claim?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is this, right now I'm like, okay, I'll back the government 100%, saying, the security agencies 100% saying, okay, I'm going to be very skeptical. If they come out and they actually have proof, then this is me saying I'm never going to get a Huawei device. I'm never going to touch one ever again, because just to me, I'm not. If you lose my trust, you lose my trust. As simple as that, especially when it comes to my information. But if this is something that is more being played on on a trade war kind of thing, where, we're going to prevent them from coming into the U.S. so more U.S. companies can do whatever, then I'm like, what's stopping every other country in the world from doing this? You have to let us know what exactly the deal is.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Very, very true. Well, speaking of Huawei again, they patented a foldable phone. We all know that's coming at some point, at least true glass foldable, not ZTE style foldable devices. It kind of looks like it has the same hinge as the Surface, just from the images here. So,
but that is for the screen, man.
Yeah. Yeah, for a screen. So yeah, that could be cool. Also, the other person who's patenting this is Microsoft as well, with a foldable device, which is just screen, and Samsung too. So everybody has this stuff like down the line coming. It's a matter of like, is it feasible? Is it viable? LG also, not that LG. LG display has some really cool displays out there. Like they have some really cool stuff. So I think it'll be interesting to see once they actually come out.
I'm looking at this, and it looks as though, yes, the screen itself is not divided at all. It's a full screen.
Yeah.
And there's a hinge on the back that you can use to fold it either way, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
If they could do that, I would like to. But the only problem is, like, when you fold the screen that way, you have to, obviously you're stretching the screen. How many times can you stretch the screen before you lose elasticity?
Well, I don't know. I know according to LG and their rollable display, they said it will last how many million hours or whatever. They just kept on rolling it up and down. And they said it would last, like, basically they say it would last your typical TV lifetime, which is 5 years, right? Roughly.
Yeah, but that's a rollable display. That's not like really elasticity, really. That's
but it's not elasticity. But
this
also,
is you put in a screen over a hinge, right? And then you have to bend it, and then let it go, and then bend it. When you open it, bend it, open it, bend it. So that screen is basically expanding and contracting. I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see how that technology.
But it's still based off of rollable OLEDs.
What I want to know is, what's the point of foldable phones?
Haven't you watched Westworld? Did you not see that awesome like phone tablet thing that they had? It was like this, and next minute you open to a tablet. Your phone can be a tablet, and your tablet can be a phone, and then it can be a computer. It could be anything you want, and you can throw it into space and like, yes.
Well, let's talk about Asus who did that. The Zen phone tablet and the Zen phone with the tablet and talked into. But I'm just like, these are cool concepts. I like the ideas, but I'm just sitting there like,
you know why it doesn't. I think why it doesn't register for a lot of people yet is simply this: our operating systems are not flexible for such things right now. Because if you think about any of the sci-fi movies where they have those cool expandable displays, the OS there literally changes with the display size. Our OSs are very rigid now. I mean, like, think about it. There's always the problem. Windows had the biggest problem of trying to, go into different screen sizes. We all know how Apple's have two different OSs altogether just to even compensate on that. The problem is our operating systems don't match for that kind of stuff, where your device is big enough for writing or for you to actually do other activities. Whether you're in a hospital, your phone becomes a scanning device and you can look at someone's x-rays or diagrams and you can fold it back again. So those kind of things have to be, the OS needs to become pliable as well for it to make any sense. Because if not, to Warren's point, it's just going to be, 1 minute is a phone and 1 minute is a giant phone.
Like, I'm trying to,
and that's it. It just becomes a giant phone, and you're going.
Yeah. Oh, I was just trying to find this TV show. And I finally found it. Earth Final Conflict. That's the phone I want. All right. That's.
Do you have an image of the phone? Can you share?
Yeah, this is it. I think you remember the show once you see the phone. Oh, this is back in the days, man. It was really nice.
Earth Final Conflict. Oh, I remember this one. Oh my God, I have not seen this showing.
Where you basically
Jesus
take the phone and roll it out.
Oh, this. Okay, let me show you this.
This is awesome, man.
This is what Sam wants as his display, just so y'all can see this right there.
Oh, good Lord.
You just close it and that's it. Put it in your pocket. You're done.
No, I mean, like, we will get rollable devices. I think kind of like that. I think it just depends on what we want to see. Because we have rollable OLEDs, right? That powered. So
I just don't think we're at the use case of software yet for something like this to be.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I said the software is just not pliable enough. When software gets there, I think rollable displays is one sector where hardware is faster than software.
Yeah.
In that respect, that once our software gets to the point where it literally, like, to me, just all these software guys, just watch the sci-fi movies, man. See how the OS just is fluid, man. Like, come on, like, let's get it rolling.
Exactly, man.
I mean, it's just simple. I just want to be able to, like, as soon as I open it up, it knows that I want to watch a movie because it's now 36 inches.
Implants. You put your neural implants in, man.
I don't want any implants in my body. What is wrong with you?
And then you get hacked, and then Samsung
exactly.
We cannot control your mind.
I don't want hacked.
You've been hacked.
Yeah,
I don't know. He keeps slapping himself. He's been hacked.
Yeah, I'm having a glitch in my software.
Somebody will have a tablet and they'll just be watching everything you see.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and blur things out.
They're like, oh, look at Thunder E there. Click. It reminds me of that Black Mirror episode where the woman had a chip in her daughter. Oh, God, Black Mirror, things that come to life.
That was a scary episode, man.
Yeah,
I know. And let's move on to tablets and stuff. Apple announced its new iPad to combat Google in the educational space. It's slightly cheaper. I think. How much is it? $399 or
$329 with educational discount.
Yeah, discount. Yeah. For the iPad, you can buy the pencil cheaper. And somebody stated, I saw something on Twitter. Someone's like, no keyboard with this too as well. I think to me they should have bundled the keyboard, then you buy the pencil. That's fine. That would be much better. And also, what's the infrastructure for this? Because right now, Google owns that space. They spent a long time developing in that space, and Chromebooks, as much as I don't use Chromebooks, I know we don't in general here, but Chromebooks do offer that. Google has services to back it up with that. The price range at like $300 for a Chromebook with some really good battery life. It's something that really goes a long way. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be a big impact? Do you think schools will adopt this? Because right now it's Chromebooks and then Windows, laptops. In the educational space, because a couple of things, you do have that ability, especially with Windows, you have the ability for teacher permissions and things like that. Those kind of core lockdowns that you can have kids focus on exactly what you want them to focus on, and you can bring in external tools.
Well, there's so many things that this thing can do. There's so many things.
One of the things I had an issue with, a couple of things I actually have issue with. One of them being is that I was reading some tweets of some parents that do use tablets and such, and one of the things they said, they were like, well, they use tablets in school, but a lot of times their homework's on the tablets themselves, and they can't bring them home. So parents are forced to then buy another tablet, and that tablet has to be the same operating system as the app or whatever they have for homework. So it makes me kind of concerned that a lot of these educational devices are creating walled gardens that limit what people can get. So like if a family, if there's an app on there, and let's say it's only for iOS.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And granted, it's $329, but we know tablets are cheaper. It can be much cheaper in the Android space, and you can make better kid-friendly ones as well too, because they just made a cheaper app, but they didn't make the thing kid-friendly, which especially at that educational level where things can break easily, things can be stolen easily, forgotten, lost, or something like that. And that's an expensive thing to try to reproduce again, especially for a parent if they have to pull out of their pocket for that. So it's interesting. I think I saw one of the things Phil Burns said this actually on his Twitter. He was like, my son's school does this where they use iPads for education, but he can't bring it home. And I'm a Samsung expert, but I'm forced to buy an iPad because that's what all of his homework is on. So it creates a walled garden. So and the thing is that most likely, I don't know if that parent's going to get that extension of an actual educational discount when they go and buy an iPad.
Yeah, and you're definitely right on that part.
And then iPad's also not managed. The thing is that iPad has whatever homework is in that app, but it doesn't have the same restrictive tools that the teacher's one does. So now you put it on the parents, which they should be monitoring the iPad as well too. But now you're introducing another device, something else that has to be managed, something else that they have to deal with, something else that has to be synced up as well too. Versus they have this one thing that works. Or if they can't bring it home, the app works wherever they want it to work, wherever they want to work at, whether it be on a Chromebook, on an iPad, on an iOS device, or just on a computer on the web, on the Oasis. Hey, on the Oasis. I mean, but that's the way it should be, though. It should be like an Oasis, agnostic to whatever hardware it is. And I feel like when I keep hearing these educational, that's what I feel with these educational pushes is that we just keep creating these walled gardens of things. Google not so much, because anything any of the day with Google can be done on a PC on a web. But in the case with Apple, it's like in this, gotta be all in the thing.
I get you when you say the walled gardens, but these walled gardens are going to exist between haves and has-nots. They're going to exist between protocols, operating systems. There are going to exist in some way. That doesn't mean we shouldn't keep pushing technology.
No, I want us to push
education.
No, we should. I'm not saying that, Sam. I'm not saying not to push it.
I hear you, and I hear what you're saying. You're not saying don't push it. You're pointing out that there's so many negatives, but there's still a huge amount of positives.
Well, it's not negatives. It's concerns to let's keep doing this, but make sure that the software that we're using is agnostic to wherever it goes. That we don't limit and lock things in a way where a kid is locked out.
Yeah, because if you look at it, I see your point. The fear here is this, and it's really true. Apple didn't talk about the ecosystem of software. They say we have a lot of software, and we know it's just iOS based. Yeah. That's where the problem is. To his point, when you go on a Chromebook, it's Chromebook means you're on the web. Let's just call it what it is. So, which means you can log into Chrome on your PC and use the same apps. So at least Google had a walk around it and say, look, fine, you don't have to have a Chromebook. You just need to download Chrome browser, and you can download on anything to do that. So that at least assures that the kid can, approach. And I hear that point. I think to me, that's a very big point as Apple jumps into the space, because you don't want to have kids now separated by hardware, literally by hardware. And different types of software, whether it's even from different schools, or imagine if a kid starts off at first grade, and he's been using, this iPad iOS system for 3 years. Parents they move to say, maybe from like Texas to California.
That's the best example. Is
and then they have to now start using Chromebooks.
To a public school would be the best example of that, because let's be frank, all this stuff is geared towards private school.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be a walled garden between the haves and the have-nots. It's inevitable that this is going to happen. So I think this is where we need to start having discussions about what is the government responsibility to create an equal playing field? Do they create a program where people can get subsidies for getting these devices as more and more
Does our Secretary of Education even know we have iPads in school?
No. See, I mean, if we're going to get in that route, like, we shouldn't even look at it this. See, the problem here in America is we do this silly thing of we let other people solve the problems for us, right? Google is doing its own thing, Apple is doing its own thing. That shouldn't be the case. What it should be is the educational department should say, this is the curriculum. You guys should create software that works with everybody, and it should be standardized across the board. We don't care. That's just how you need to do it.
And we already know that the interesting thing to get apps that act the same way on different platforms. So,
and to answer those, we got to answer one thing, because you're going to have those snooty parents that are going to complain that my kid goes to a private school, so she have a better education or advantage. I said, well, then buy the better version of the app. Buy a higher version of whatever it is.
Even in that argument, oh yes,
but it's going to come in. Because I agree with you. Because if they come with the same app and it's in public school,
and I totally believe,
charter schools, how it is around here.
I totally believe in that if you're paying, far above what it costs per student in a private school, you should get some perks. That perk means that you get a smaller class size. It means that your child and you have more of a one-on-one time with the teacher and the faculty at that school. Yeah. That's what you're paying for.
That's technically what it's supposed to be.
When it comes to actual curriculum, I think actual curriculum should be decided by the Board of Education for that district, definitely. But there should be a baseline that comes in that all students have to be basically fluent in certain subjects. That should be a federal thing, and that's why I think.
So you mean
when you get government involvement?
You mean actually using standardized testing properly and not screwing it over?
See, that's the thing. It doesn't even need to be standardized.
It just needs to be.
It just needs to be a curriculum that says there are some core principles that every school in the United States needs to follow, which is math, certain sciences, English, and then you go to the local level, and local levels can then decide, hey, as part of our science, we'll leave an agricultural zone, so we'll go with agricultural science instead of dealing with chemistry or physics. That's something that's a discussion that we need to have, and how these tools can then inform the education. Because when we basically divorce government and these private interventions from the educational system, we're left with not just a walled garden for the has and have not. We're left with a walled gardens based on, like you said, operating system. They're walled gardens that don't need to exist, that we then create for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that when you're paying for that more expensive educational experience, right? What you're paying for is, it's like what a lot of parents do now is that education. Like you said, there's a standard, but when you're paying for private school or charter school, they're just teaching you more. They're going more beyond what that standard is. It's like saying, I have a kid, my kid comes back home. I'm like, okay, fine. You're doing work from next year's class. That's just what it is. Like, I'm making them do that, but that's what you pay for with that, but not the software, not the tools that they're supposed to actually handle. And I think that's where we're going to run into this problem where we shouldn't have walled gardens in education. Because also you're going to get skews. You're going to get Apple. Those kids are going to be skewed to now write certain types of software code if they get there. I'm just saying, just that simple thing. Same thing with Google, same thing with Microsoft, whoever they are. You start skewing them in different parts. Doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing to do, but you just basically are mapping out features when you shouldn't be mapping them out in that formal format. What you should do it should be educating them in the first place. So we have to see.
I think what Apple is doing is really interesting, especially when it comes to their I think it's called Everyone Creates, a curriculum that they have. I think the fact that they're putting together a curriculum and they have a teacher and a student view of that curriculum, I think that's important. I think it's a thing that people need to start looking at. The more we have discussions on the amount of time kids spend in school and how that translates to how much you pay teachers and how that translates to how much teachers spend out of their own pockets to basically fund the education for the students, like pencils and stuff like that, you're already eliminating a lot of like the color pencils that teachers buy, the dry board erasers that teachers buy. You're already eliminating that if you move more of these things on devices. The teachers now need to have less of an out-of-pocket cost. But we need to make sure that it's a discussion, not just with the private sector, but with the government to try to understand, what is that base level that we all need to have before we can then put technology on top and say, okay, now everyone has at least the same basic level of education in the United States, and then we move from there.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our final topic. Good boys at Microsoft have done a restructuring. One of the execs finally left the company. He's been there for 21 years, and they've basically restructured it where Jeff Belfori now handles all things Windows, and they've incorporated Edge used to be separate. I don't know why, but it's back into Windows. And then our boy Panos is now head of all products. His new title is Chief Product Officer. He used to be VP of Devices. I linked an article for Windows Central, which kind of places it very interesting. He says the article is what Microsoft recent organization means for Windows and you. The future of personal computing is changing. Microsoft's recent major reorganization reflects that, but it's also slightly confusing. It feels confusing.
Nothing new for them.
Yeah. So myself and Warren talked about this a little bit. I like the fact that Panos is now the head of all products. And although Warren did state that, this means Surface disappears in 3 years, I disagree, because I think him being the head of all product does not take that away.
Yeah,
This, I think, is the path of him becoming the next CEO. This is my.
God, I hope so. God, I hope so, because we got a guy at the head that thinks everything should be in the cloud and doesn't realize that hardware needs to be tied into it. And that's my biggest worry. Are they going to undercut him? Him and Panos have two very different visions of how software and hardware tie in. They want to be software agnostic and want to force to sell this. So they figure they can get you to buy it just based on their name. And if they blunt force it on you as much as possible, versus let's create some good hardware to attract people to our software. So no matter where they go, they'll probably want to use this software, because we lost in the mobile space. We can't get anywhere there. But if we can at least make sure we have other different types of hardware devices that keeps people wanting to use Windows software, when they're on an Android or iOS device, they will use that software as well too. And I think that's Panos' idea. I think from Nadella's idea, it's like, I don't care what the hardware is, just get Microsoft on it and they will just flock to it because we have the subscription services to do so. And that's not a strategy that's worked for pretty much anyone. Even Google had to make hardware to get everything else going. I mean, they had to do that. The laptops and tablet market was sort of this hybrid computing market wasn't really taking off, wasn't going anywhere. The Microsoft had to make the Surface. And then when that came along, we started to see more hybrid devices come out. We started to see true
thinner laptops.
And laptops and all this stuff come out because they got behind the market and put down the standard. And, it's like, Microsoft's kind of going in the opposite, direction. Another great example for them is that online gaming wasn't a thing. PlayStation, you got to remember, PlayStation had some dial-up. Nintendo had some dial-up on the GameCube. But when Xbox came out and they standardized and said, we're going to only do broadband-only gaming. It's only on the internet. We're going to support the servers that are on there so that we can guarantee the gaming experience. That's when online gaming blew up the way it did. It blew up, granted, online gaming's been on the PC forever, but the Xbox...
It wasn't standardized.
The Xbox
still
came
not
out.
Still not
standardized. But the Xbox made it a thing that the average consumer that would never have touched it before is now into doing it, to the point where you're on, you're online gaming on your phone against people now. So it's like they've done these things in their own proof and seeing the proof of other things that happened before, but then they get to a point where like, nah, we don't need to do that. When all of our other products are trying to push like Edge and other Microsoft services they want to push and things like that. They're just relying on, well, people buy Office because they don't know how to use anything else. And the real reality is businesses still use Office because, granted, all the plugins are still there for Excel. And I guarantee you, Bloomberg ever made something that directly imported into Google Docs and it actually worked well, that licensing's in trouble.
Well, it's not even. To me, it's not even Google Docs. It's the fact that now people are realizing that SQL and VBA isn't powerful enough to work with a lot of the data they work with now. So you're looking at different tools that now
everyone's making dashboards now.
Are exactly.
I give Microsoft credit. They went behind, realized SharePoint wasn't going to really be the cutter for that, and made the BI, and made the business intelligence and all that stuff like that. I give them credit for getting into that space, but that's where everything's going. And then, and if that's the case, where I can get that report, and all I need to do, I can sort that report in a table. Like, there's an app called Airtable that you can do your databases all online through a spreadsheet-like interface. If you can get that on an online interface, whether it's online or in its own private cloud and its own infrastructure, and I can sort it, and all I can do is click PDF to print that out and save it, or I made my report. Let me hit the PDF and go. If it turns into what you can do with Google Analytics, that's a huge game.
And why is PDF amazing? Because you send out a PDF and you know someone else isn't going to change that PDF on you before it gets to the end user. End of story. It is your work that's out there, and people can
protect it. You can protect it. You can lock it down. You can do everything with it. And PDFs are probably the easiest doc to see on mobile devices too.
Yeah. So I think Microsoft they're getting to the point where people are going to move away from Excel and just Windows on a particular PC, and it's going to try to be Windows everywhere, which is what they're planning for. Yeah. But this is what, from reading the article on Windows Central, this is really what kind of gives me some kind of comfort, or some that maybe Nadella is beginning to change a bit, because it reads here. It says, for those worried that Microsoft will ditch the Surface brand, something I called crazy in the past, today's news demonstrates that the company is doubling down on hardware. Nadella told Bloomberg in 2017, it's Alan Kay who said, if you're serious about your software, you make your own hardware. I think there's some truth to that. If he's saying that it is truth to building your own hardware in order to basically sell your software, then I'm good with that.
Yeah,
because that's what we've been saying here.
I think maybe there is some realization in the company.
I don't know.
There's certain hardwares that they will stick with and they will go with, and Microsoft can make a lot of great things. The problem is, I think here's the thing, and here's the thing I think they're looking at is that they are one of the things they've done well with Azure, for instance, is not on just combating with Amazon, that fight they've been having where it's actually on the gaming side. Azure server is now used by at least 5 of the big gaming companies, and they understand that integration there, that look, you still need to push it through hardware. So his mindset is probably thinking, now that we kind of see that on the gaming side, how do we apply this to other segments, whether it's Windows on PCs and things like that. And I think, and that's why I say, to me, it gives me hope, because when you push someone like Panos, who has that vision for hardware, and he wants, because even when you hear him talk, he's always talked about Windows. He's like, look, I want the Surface. I remember the first time we saw him at the Surface event, like he was like I want Surfaces to be everywhere. I want people to actually experience the device. So that's somebody who's at the top level now of all hardware. See, put it this way, they made 2 good changes. They moved what's his name to the head of all gaming, the Xbox guy. What's his name again?
Phil Spencer.
Spencer to all gaming. Even though, like, it's weird though, like when Spencer asked for the purchase of Mixer, I didn't think that was a smart move. But then again, now I'm looking at it now and going, like, Mixer has now gained its own little drive.
Well, it's also it's the only app that's easily streamable right directly on Xbox, because they make every other one difficult.
Oh yeah, they do make every other one difficult, because they want to push mix up
because Sony makes streaming to Twitch and YouTube.
YouTube,
like
pretty easy. Yeah. But Mixer has gained a lot of confidence. But I'm saying that those two guys moving up, like him moving to the head of all gaming, and then Panos moving up as well, and having Jeff Belfori handle all Windows. I think those are like nice 3 pillars. I don't know who's handling servers and IT on that side, but I think on the consumer side, because those are 3 consumer facing segments, right? I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, to me, I said this might be the board looking at transitioning Microsoft over. And maybe it's time for us to cycle out that whole that whole cloud drive that we're doing. That it's growing, it's doing well, so that's fine. We don't need to do anything crazy, and we need to now start cycling in some of these other guys because.
Well, I think they were out of the consumer cloud when they made all those stupid changes to OneDrive the way they did.
Oh my
everyone
God,
off.
That was
everyone off.
That was the one part that I did just completely. Like, OneDrive could have just owned everything.
Yeah, really
completely. I mean, the fact that OneDrive is on your computer and people don't use it is the problem.
I'm wondering why they're having a problem getting people to use their software when you make policies that are when you do things that are anti-competitive to consumers and make these rules, and you give away a free operating. They gave away a free operating system upgrade for everyone, and they built in a cloud drive that wouldn't even look like the cloud. It would just be there. And
as another drive.
Another drive that would sync. But they got pissed people were using it as a drive.
All you need to do.
They got pissed.
Okay, before we go any further, this is now when we switch over to our marketing, and consulting drive for Microsoft.
This is what Bored at Work brings to the table.
so just remember checks. We have checks coming out. Like like we've all said this.
Make all checks payable to BW1. The Gadget Guy and Booredatwork.com. Just letting you guys know that, just in case.
Yeah, no, but it's a simple process. All you have to do.
All ideas from this point forward are trademarked.
You make it a very simple process. Like, OneDrive should be free with everything, and I mean free unlimited. Basically, if people start over uploading, like somebody does 1% of how many people did that, you cap them. You're like, look, you've broken terms and agreements. Done. Like, it's just a simple process. You don't have to do anything crazy. Plus, if I'm buying a Microsoft product, every Windows laptop I buy, I should have OneDrive straight up. Like, you should just offer it. Like, no questions asked, right? You can offer where you can say, okay, 1 terabyte, and then you pay, like, now Google is like, you pay is it $10 or whatever the amount. It's like it's nothing crazy, but it's something you just keep paying for, no matter how you look at it. Like,
you sign up to other services and you get more space.
More space, exactly. Just the stackability of it, And then that OneDrive becomes, you now make OneDrive your And I remember when they were talking about that, they were trying to make OneDrive the central hub and tying that to Xbox as well. And I was like, my gaming, my photos, my Windows lives all on OneDrive. Like it's golden. And then
imagine being able to stream your media from it as well too, to matter which way you want to go. And this is before the Plex days, obviously. But then imagine Plex makes a plugin there for that to connect, so you can stream your music, and then maybe it even in some ways like they actually use Zune, the stupid Groove name, but the actual Zune software, the way it's properly supposed to be done, and where they had everything streaming right directly from the app, but then add that component that Google did of uploading your own songs to it, so you have your own stuff to match, but then also buy the stream. So no matter what,
well, but they killed Groove as well. It's just Spotify, man. Like the Groove is just a player. It's no more. If you want to listen to music, it's Spotify.
They would just be better off just releasing Windows Media Player and just leaving it on people's PCs and just stop making anything else. No. At least it does everything.
Anytime I hear Windows Media Player, I remember like one of the worst iterations of it. I think it was on Windows 98 or something.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Wow. There's a reason I haven't used Windows Media Player in almost a decade.
Actually, the regular media player, my Windows. I just opened up Windows Media Player and it crashed.
And
the new media player for Windows 10 actually is more effective.
It's pretty nice, yeah.
I haven't even set up Windows Media Player in this thing yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I was trying to. I just mentioned
it goes recommended settings X.
Yeah, no.
exactly.
But yeah, I think Microsoft is on a path where they can definitely. I think with the people that they have there, right? Because all of them are now directly report to Nadella. So there's no more cut-off chain of command. And having someone like Panos, which means, because to me is this, Microsoft, we talked about education, right? Education is a space that they've lost control of. Let's just call it what it is. They've lost control. But it's not a space that they can't get back in. You have Snapdragon Windows laptops that you can easily build priced at $300. Has double the battery life of any of all these devices that we mentioned. You have Microsoft services you can build in all those controls for teachers, for schools, to say, hey, this is what we want to do. And build a Surface Snapbook, price that one at $500. That's the premier one. Acer, HP, Dell, go make your own underneath. This is the Microsoft educational protocol right here. Throw it up there, backed by Azure servers cloud. I mean, Nick, you want to throw the cloud in? That's your baby right there. And then you now have a full system powered by a company who does cloud. The only other person who does it better, as good as Google. Apple is not the one, because we all know Apple uses Google Cloud for your backups. So you now have a strong entry. Like, that's something you can do, released by back to school September, and say, look, we've slacked off in this area quite a bit, but it's really important for us. And this, we've done this before. Here's what you can do improved. Here's the top of the line if you want something that, and the way you sell the Surface one is like, what? We talked about the Surface laptop for the college student, right? Now, this one is for the high school student and below. Like, that's literally it. And then you call it a day. And you have a piece of hardware that now ties into your whole educational process. And the only thing that makes the hardware limiting is because of the educational tools and not Windows 10s. I mean, that's it. And that's it. And then you can build an app, you can build software, you can run legacy software, or you can run it all from your Azure servers on the cloud. Done. Anyway, guys, that's it for pitch. Well, thank you everyone for chiming in and joining us as usual. It's been a fun show. We get to part of the show now where we can talk about what we have on the channel, what we can expect next week. So, Mr. Warren Bowman, kick it off. What do you have on your channel?
Everything that I had last week is everything that's on this week. I don't have much on there of news yet. I do make my return to getting back to more YouTube videos starting tomorrow, next month, April. It's not April Fool's joke. I will be back.
Okay.
Producing and pushing more stuff out there.
All right, cool. For us, we've got 4 videos this past week. We had a video from Mr. Adam Dowd, who gave us the first AI-powered doorbell. Check it out.
Does it know when to ring?
Well, the doorbell is supposed to, if you're not at home, when it rings,
ding,
it will actually answer
ding, 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 dong,
and say, hello, how are you? How can I help you? Kind of like a virtual butler at the door. It's got a camera built in. It also should recognize familiar guests that come to the home. Regular people.
So basically, that means if someone shows up to your place and you don't want them showing up, you just tell them, what, this person, just don't even ring the bell. Tell them I'm not home.
Exactly. Yeah. As opposed to ring the bell. He's not at home.
Here.
Yeah. So there's that. We also have our first hands-on look at the Mi Mix 2S from Xiaomi, which actually is a pretty nice, nifty device. Also, the Huawei P20 Pro. Did our hands-on of that device with its triple camera setup. And finally, we did our 30-day review. You guys can check it out, of the Galaxy S9 Plus. Spend some more in-depth details to things that we liked, we didn't like, things I think Samsung should change so far, how the device runs in 30 days, more in-depth, less, rush to review of the device. So definitely check that out. Next week, yeah, I got stuff. I should have a laptop review at some point next week, but I'm just not sure which one. I have a couple of laptops I'm going through right now, but I think that's pretty much it. And I want to say thank you very much, guys, for watching and also listening on the podcast. If you are, we have the podcast links down below. Again, if you want to go ahead and go back and check out more stuff, listen to some of our commentary, definitely check out all the channels. Mr. Juan Bagnell, who is not here, but is part of the show. You can check him out at Some Gadget Guy and follow him on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. It's all Some Gadget Guy, as well as Mr. Warren Bowman. His channel is bw1.com, and also his website is bw1.com. And follow him on all social media with that handle, bw1.com, all spelled out fully. And Mr. Black Iron _ Man, his nickname is Sam. And you can follow him on Twitter. It is Black Iron _ Man, part of the Booredatwork network. And myself, Booredatwork is our handle on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. The website is also Booredatwork. I want to say thank you very much and always enjoy your entertainment.